Hello and thank you for joining us. I'm Cody Proctor. This is the KREM 2 News Week in Review, where each weekend we bring you the headlines from the past week here in the Inland Northwest. Let's get started with one of the biggest news stories of the past few days. The congressman shared his predictions and his hopes before President Donald Trump's Tuesday night address to Congress.
I think there'll be some cheers from the Republican side and hopefully not too many jeers from the other side. You know, I do worry about the hyperpartisanship of America, so I hope we can have a unifying moment tonight for our Congress.
Those hopes were quickly dashed.
The chair now directs the Sergeant at Arms to restore order. Remove this gentleman from the chamber.
The congressman, who invited Wilbur Creston high school teacher Stacey Nash as his guest, spoke with KREM 2 after the address.
How do you think it went tonight?
I think it was a great night for America. You know, I think President Trump took a deserved victory lap after everything that, he went through in terms of nearly getting shot.
The president spoke on several topics, including tariffs. On Tuesday, tariffs with Canada, China, and Mexico went into effect, with each country responding with their own retaliatory tariffs.
I do have concerns on tariffs impacts on people in Washington State. I've always been, very clear on that, and we'll look forward to working with the president to make sure that he understands those costs.
Meantime, Washington Senator Patty Murray, who did not attend the address, offered a different take on President Trump's second term so far.
Despite what we are going to hear tonight here, the true state of our nation is that Musk and Trump have ground it to a halt because they are blocking important funding, in total disregard of the law, by the way, and total lack of concern over how their actions put Americans and American jobs at risk.
In Idaho, Coeur County Democrats Chair Evan Koch shared a statement prior to the president's speech.
While Trump's showmanship at the podium might make for entertaining television, it's destroying the American dream.
Boise-based attorney Wendy Olson confirmed to me this morning she will represent Dr. Borenpaul, but she was unable to comment any further. But we do know she has experience litigating and winning high-profile cases in North Idaho. Within hours of her forced removal from a Kootenai County town hall, donations started pouring in for Dr. Teresa Borenpaul's legal fight. An online fundraiser since raised more than $330,000. A friend says Borenpaul was denied her freedom of assembly, freedom of speech, and her right to be free from unlawful detention. Lear Asset Management security guards pulled Borenpaul from her seat after she heckled speakers at the Kootenai County Republican Central Committee's town hall. While Olson couldn't say what kind of legal action they may take in this case, we do know she has a history of successful and expensive litigation in Kootenai County.
The statements that were made were false. Mr. Posey did not expose himself.
Back in May 2024, she helped Eric Posey, a North Idaho drag performer, with his defamation case against a conservative blogger.
Why did no one arrest the man in a dress who flashed his genitalia to minors?
Summer Bushnell accused Posey of exposing himself during his Pride in the Park performance in 2022. She posted an edited video. Coeur d'Alene police later proved that blur hid the real truth. Posey didn't expose himself. Jurors unanimously awarded him more than $1 million. KREM 2 did reach out to the Kootenai County Sheriff's Office. We were told there is no comment. We are also still waiting to hear back from the Kootenai County Republican Central Committee. Shannon Mowdy, KREM 2 News. Outside its Pullman headquarters Tuesday, Schweitzer Engineering Laboratories raised signs of solidarity.
The bond that we have through free trade, through being
neighbors now putting up defenses in a budding trade war. Dr. Ed Schweitzer says it's already having an impact on SEL. 3 trucks with the Pullman Labs electric devices made in partnership with Mexico stuck.
And those are going back to U.S. electric power utilities and industry. They're sitting in trucks when they should be by now in the hands of their customers. And what for? Until we can do the math to separate the Mexican content from the U.S. content, something that didn't matter yesterday because we were all one under NAFTA.
One of SEL's largest customers is the national utility of Mexico. Schweitzer says if that country responds with its own taxes, SEL will likely have to make sacrifices to stay competitive.
Because of paperwork, because of arbitrary law, because we're the casualty of a trade war. We'll probably start making the equipment in Mexico instead of in the United States.
Dr. Schweitzer says he'll do everything to avoid layoffs, something the company's never done. He's also against lowering employee pay, but says SEL will have to cover increased costs somehow.
Where's it most likely going to come from? Our growth. The new things that we want to invent, the new businesses that we want to try.
Schweitzer believes this too shall pass. He just hopes a temporary trade war won't mean mending fences for decades to come.
As we go to break, here's a check of your weekend forecast. Welcome back to the KREM 2 News Week in Review. It's been a busy week across the Inland Northwest, so let's catch you up on some of the news you might have missed.
I know even the thought of losing parking spaces downtown is not always a welcomed idea, but the city's recent land capacity study found that parking lots like this here in downtown Spokane are an untapped opportunity for additional housing, something that the city desperately needs.
Spokane anticipates a population increase of 23,000 by the year 2046. A new land capacity study says the city has space for this growth, but where? One suggestion is building housing on downtown parking lots.
Oh, I'd absolutely love to live downtown. I think that'd be great.
Davis Hacker is a Spokane college student who's recently experienced challenges with housing availability. He likes the idea of replacing downtown parking lots with housing options he could take advantage of.
Finding places to build apartments in general is going to be super tricky, and I think using spaces that might not be best for parking or just laying empty and turning those into apartment complexes or housing of some sort would be beneficial to everyone.
In this map, the city's recent land capacity study identifies surface parking lot parcels in the downtown core. The areas highlighted in blue represent parking lot parcels with the potential for becoming housing and mixed-use spaces. The study estimates nearly 800 of these parcels downtown could be developed into housing. It says, at most, that would accommodate housing for nearly 630 people. The study recognizes the need for parking isn't going away, but it claims the city's parking needs can be addressed through structures and other solutions that take up less land, allowing space for other uses, like residential units.
Now, this is just one key finding from the city's land capacity study. To be clear, we won't see any changes happen overnight. This study is purely being used to help inform future policy, as the city right now is working to update its comprehensive plan. That update is due in 2026. Reporting in downtown Spokane, Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
Right now, the program's starting back up with 3 neighborhood resource officers. One of them is a 17-year veteran of the Spokane Police Department who's excited about protecting the Lilac City in a new role. They're protecting and serving in a new but familiar way.
I think this is the area where the patrol officers will meet with the NROs.
That's what Spokane police officer Micah Prim says is the goal of the neighborhood resource officers. Their goal, identify safety concerns among neighbors across the northwest, northeast, and downtown south areas of Spokane. Prim's one of 3 NROs who started on Monday.
Talk about, what's going on in the neighborhoods and how we can make it safer for everybody.
It's not the first time this program's been around. Spokane police had NROs until 2023 when the department cut the program in favor of giving more funding to the patrol division. The passing of the community safety sales tax last November brought it back, after Mayor Lisa Brown proposed it and the city council supported it. Officer Prim says his new role is different than before. While officers typically focus on crime, NROs focus on the incidents with the potential of impacting the quality of life in different neighborhoods.
There's drug issues, there are vehicle prowling, there's property crimes.
They're the type of incidents he says are now getting more attention to help with public safety. Officer Prim also believes adding NROs will help improve the perception of Spokane police.
Say a certain park has drug problems or theft or whatever it is, damage to property, by adding like a positive influence in that park should mitigate some of the crime that's going on.
Spokane police say more officers will be hired for NRO positions in the next few months. Connor McAvoy, KREM 2 News.
Thanks for joining KREM 2 News this weekend. I'm Cody Proctor. Right now, we're taking a look back at some of the news stories from the past week in this edition of the KREM 2 News Week in Review.
Well, I'm wearing my construction vest to be on theme with Women in Construction Week. But yes, here in Spokane, we are celebrating Women in Construction Week, and we have one right here, Shannon Talbot. Shannon, tell us a little bit more about Women in Construction Week and some of the events that these women behind us are going to be doing.
Absolutely. So I'm Shannon Talbot with the Inland Northwest AGC, and we are super proud to support the National Association of Women in Construction because it's so important to be able to have the networking, have the connections, be able to meet people who are going through and have gone through the things that you have. We get to do all sorts of events this week. We're doing networking events where they get to meet and talk like this one. We're doing a Build Day with our apprenticeship program where we're building little free libraries to distribute in our communities. And we're doing job site tours as well to see women on the job sites in the field doing their thing.
And the Lilac City in the Inland Northwest is booming and growing, so how important with that growth is it to have women in this field?
It's hugely important. I mean, the statistics show us that data-wise, every industry performs better with diverse groups of teams. We perform better in production, we perform better financially, we make more money, we do it faster, we do it better. And so having that happen in construction is all the more important because we have so much growth happening right now, and we need that to be happening in construction as well.
And good conversations are happening. What's kind of the sentiments you're hearing this morning?
We're talking a lot about AI in construction. We're talking a lot about how to mentor women that are coming into construction right now and how to build them up and make them prepared to take on leadership roles. So it's already happening. We're really excited about it.
Well, Shannon, there's going to be more events like you said this week. If you are a woman in construction watching, come out and enjoy. This is the person to talk to get connected. We'll be talking more about women in construction, but thank you so much, Shannon.
Thank you.
It's business as usual at Alki Lumber, for now, but tariffs on Canadian and Mexican imports have businesses keeping a close eye on costs.
The big impact, at least in the Northwest, is going to be like the cedar.
The 25% tariffs mean higher costs for businesses and eventually customers.
If I have to replace these and they cost more, it's that margin, I just raise it more.
Matt Peterson, the manager, says they're not sounding any alarms right now, but eventually prices could increase.
Every piece of lumber dimensionally is based on replacement cost. So we have enough backstock to hold our pricing for a temporary period of time.
Canadian softwood lumber imports already face a 14.5% tariff, and with the new 25% tariff, the total tax on these imports would climb to nearly 40%.
We estimate if you build a new house, your cost will increase about $8,000 on a, $500,000 house.
This vessel right here is the mash tun. 1,000 pounds of barley goes into this vessel.
The local brewing industry is bracing for more immediate impacts.
A lot of our base grain for most of our beers comes from Canada, and so we're expecting increased prices.
Brad Benson, a co-owner and head brewer at Stoop Brewing, says the company they used to get malt from was in Vancouver, Washington, but it closed.
Just a few months ago, we started getting Canadian malt as our base malt, and so bad timing.
Benson says the tariffs leave them with two bad choices: either absorb the cost or pass it on to the customer.
You're going to see beer prices going up in the next couple of months, and just realize that that's not your small local brewery trying to gouge the customer. It's just trying to still make a living and keep the companies open.
Welcome back. Before we wrap up this edition of the KREM 2 News Week in Review, we want to remind you that you can get the latest newscasts and weather forecasts anytime on KREM 2 Plus. It's free to watch and download on Roku, Amazon Fire, and on Apple TV. Now, here's one more story before we go.
I'm Delphia Marcellus, and I'm coming to Gonzaga with my Uptown Jazz Orchestra. And we're in the Mardi Gras season, so we're going to play it. Highlights from the Mardi Gras repertoire, but we're also going to bring you some of the swing and some of the brass band, some of the funk, the R&B. So a full palette of music from the Crescent City.
Take you back to like 1990. Do you remember coming down to play at the Lionel Hampton Jazz Festival in Moscow, Idaho?
I do, and I always tell that story because people have a difficult time with my name. And Lionel Hampton, Mr. Hampton was 80, so I think it was 88 at the time, but he was like, Marcellus, how you say your name? And I kept saying Delphia. He said, what? I said, it's like, so I gave him the Philadelphia. It's like Philadelphia. Oh, I got you, Marcellus. So we played the concert, and then Lionel Hampton says at the end of the show, he's introducing everybody, he said, on the slide trombone, we got Philadelphia Marcellus. I said, well, I wish I had a recording of that, man. That was a classic.
Growing up in a musical family, was this something that was always like in your DNA, and this is something that you always wanted to pursue?
No, honestly, we grew up in the civil rights era. And my mother and my uncle, my grandfather, everybody was telling us that we had kind of an obligation. We had these opportunities that were coming up, and we had to be ready. And if we did not succeed, it was not because we didn't have the opportunity like so many of them didn't have. And it's not that they weren't successful. It's just their success was always limited. And that was just what it is. Went was the one that came out with the vision, and he really kind of laid the path for all of us. And then thankfully, my dad later on was able to get the credit. But I wouldn't say that we were at the dinner table plotting out things similar to how the Jacksons were working on their dance steps. Yeah, that didn't happen. It's been great. It's great to have the band out on the road, and the band really sounds great. And it's just a different, unique sound. If you're not in the mood to have a good time, you definitely don't want to come out. I'm looking forward to coming up to Spokane, and I'm trying to stop saying Spokane.
As we go to break, here's a check of your weekend forecast. Thank you so much for spending a part of your weekend with us on the KREM 2 News Week in Review. Be sure to keep it here on KREM 2 for more news and weather updates. I'm Cody Proctor. Thanks for watching.